guitar enthusiasts, we're going to be doing a Pearl Jam remake of an old Wayne Cochran song called Last Kiss. It's a great song for beginners because it uses 4 chords, my 4 favorite, the G chord, the E minor chord, the C chord, and the D chord. And of course, if you know my simple 2-finger versions, you can use that as well. And I always remind students on the E minor chord, I like to use my 1st and 2nd fingers because it creates a nice pivot point to go into the C chord. It also creates a nice pivot point to go into your G chord. So just a little something if you don't know my teaching style, that's what I recommend. So the great thing about this song is that the chord progression is relatively the same throughout the entire song. That's the order we play the chords. So for most of the song, it's going to be G, E minor, C, and D. So I'm going to show you 2 strumming patterns. We're going to start with a beginner strumming pattern that will help you work on the timing of your upstrums, and then I'm going to show you more of a late beginner strumming pattern, and then we're going to play through the entire song. So the first strumming pattern, let's pick a nice chord like a G chord here, all right? And what we're going to do is we're just going to work on the timing of that upstrum, because I know so many beginner students have trouble kind of getting those upstrums to fall into place. So when I work on this with students, I say, let's just work on the first 2 beats. So we got 1, 2, and. Okay, so it's going to be down, down, up. Okay, so it's 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Down, down, up, 3, 4. Down, down, up, 3 on your own. One more time. Good. And what I tell students to do is on that 3 and 4, just work on keeping time with your strumming hands. So if I've got 1, 2, and I'm still pretending like I'm going to be strumming on 3 and 4. I'm just not hitting anything. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and. Okay, so you can see my right hand, the strumming hand, is keeping the time even when I'm not strumming. Okay, so that's where you can start off, get the timing on that strum, because I know a lot of students, they tend to rush when they get into upstrums. They tend to go, it's like they all of a sudden lose the timing a bit. They get a little anxious on doing that up strum and they over up on the strum. So work on relaxing that up strum, and then you can kind of graduate to this later beginner where we're going to be doing 2 up strums in a row. And that's why I said earlier, keep this right hand moving, because nothing's really changing with what we're doing with our right hand. What's changing is when we're hitting the string. So this next strumming pattern is going to be down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So it's just what we were doing before, except we're adding an up, up on the end. So it's 1, 2, and 4, and down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, and. Now we call this a syncopated rhythm because we're missing a down strum on that 3rd beat. And if that's tricky for you, no problem. Just throw the 3rd beat back in. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay? Just throw that 3rd beat right back in there. Whatever strumming pattern you find most comfortable, that's what we're going to use to play through this song. So if you need the lesson notes to follow along with me, you can always go to my website, laurenbateman.com. We're going to start off with a chorus. So we're going to be doing G, E minor, C, D twice. And then we're going to have a double G on the end. And then we're going to jump into the verse where we're going to be doing that same chord progression, looks like 4 times. And then we're going to throw that double G on the end. So that's the only change, is that sometimes on the end of the verse and the end of the chorus, we add in this double G. And the great thing about this chord progression, as you're practicing, we go from G, E minor, C, and then D. So you can use those pivot points to walk down this chord progression. So we have a G chord, 1st finger stays in its spot, slides back a little bit to make room for the 2nd finger, E minor. 2nd finger can stay right in place, and then pivot right into that C chord. So G, E minor, C, and then D. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, ready. Oh, where can my baby be? The Lord took her baby when I leave this world. We were out on the date on my daddy's car. We hadn't driven very far. There in the road, straight ahead, the car was stalled, the engine was dead. I couldn't stop, so I swerved to the right. I'll never forget the sound that night, the screaming tires, the busted glass, the painful scream that I heard last. Oh, where can my baby be? The Lord took her away from me. She's gone to heaven, so I gotta be good, so I can see my baby when I leave this world. If you like this fun song by Pearl Jam, then I highly recommend you go check out my black lesson right over there for another Pearl Jam classic.